Hey everyone, welcome back to Low Luxury, the channel where I show you what authentic luxury clothing and streetwear and footwear looks like. And I say that because we are going to be taking a look at some footwear from a designer who has just started doing them, but it's a very, very big name. So we are going to be taking a look at a pair of sneakers from the inaugural season of Raf Simons Runner. Yes, that's right, Raf Simons now has his own shoe line. And you know, he is super popular for his Adidas collaborations, especially the Oswegos, things like that. And it's crazy that it took this long, but he's finally got a line for himself. So this first collection, he did a few different silhouettes. So there was the Orion, which is kind of like a Stan Smith, like a slim shoe. Then there were the Antes, which are a more typical, like chunky sneaker. And then there were the Solarises, which were really more like kind of Chelsea boots with this kind of really interesting block sole. And finally, we've got these, which were my favorite of the collection, called the Cylons. And you'll see what these are all about. They are so cool, really crazy, futuristic looking. That's the whole vibe of this whole collection. So that's enough of me blabbering on and on. Let's check these out. But first, I've looked into it, and a very small percentage of you are actually subscribed to the channel. It's completely free. Just press that button and you will not regret it. Thank you so much. So I know we want to dive right in and look at the shoes, but any legit checker who knows anything knows that you've got to start with the box. And this one is quite interesting. So this is a large box, and it is nearly perfectly square. So it is 14.5 inches up here, but 13.5 this way. And it's quite deep as well, with the lip coming down about 1/3 of the way of the box. The box is like a dark charcoal gray, and it does have this kind of like crisscross texture to it. Hopefully I can show you that. There you go. So it actually reminds me a lot of some of the Balenciaga boxes as far as that texture there. And then printed on there in silver, it's pretty glossy, you can see, and you can kind of feel those letters, so I guess you could say they are embossed. So you've got Raf Simons Runner, and that is the Raf Simons font that he uses for all of his branding. And if you look at the runner here, it's in like parentheses, but they're really just like these slivers of a circle, right? This is like a straight line coming down here. And of course, take a look at that text in relation to the size of the box itself, how nicely and cleanly centered it is, all of that stuff. So 3 sides of this are completely blank, as is the bottom of the box. However, on one of the sides, you get all the good info. So you've got 2 stickers here. Off on the bottom right, we've got this kind of longer, skinnier one with rounded edges. And you've got a model number right there in bold. And we're going to want to make sure that matches everywhere we see it. We've got a color right there, black multi. We've got a model name, which is smaller and not bold, and that's called the Cylon. Barcode over there. And then we get our size in European sizing. So this is a 43, which about equals out to a US men's 10. And finally, we get a season. So this is from fall/winter 2020. And perhaps more important is the sticker in the bottom left here. So this sticker is quite a bit bigger, and it has sharper edges. Inside of that, you've got like a black border, and you get a full color drawing of the shoe itself. Under that, all in bold, all caps, left justified, you get the model name, colorway, model number, which should match the other sticker, and your size down here. We get a black box there. Couldn't tell you what that's for, who knows, and a barcode there. All right, let's open this up and see what we got. Ooh, there's a lot of good stuff in there. Okay, first let's just talk about the rest of the box itself. So on the inside, this is just more of a matte black cardboard, so not that texture that it was at the outside. And inside the box, underneath everything, we have this little micro pack sticker there saying it's recyclable. All right, so the first thing that really pops out here is this dust bag, so let's check that out. Okay, so this is a single dust bag, kind of a really dark brown, I would say. And it's actually, really interestingly, I've never seen this. It's kind of like a tote bag or like a crossbody or something. It's got this one really big strap here coming out the top. I think that's so cool. I love that. And then once again, printed on there in the center is the Raf Simons Runner logo. And the back is blank. We've got black drawstrings at both ends here. And I've turned it inside out, and we can see that there are no tags or anything to speak of on the inside there. But really, I think that strap is such a great innovation for a dust bag. I wish everyone did this. Okay, finally, let's get to this shoe here. Moment of truth. And there you have it. I think this thing is beautiful. As you can see, it's like a boot with this crazy chunky sneaker sole. Super futuristic looking, kind of like Blade Runner, cyberpunk vibes. Let's check out all the details of this thing. So as you can see, this upper is a really nice like pebbled leather. I really like the texture of that. It's very like natural looking to me, very luxe, I would say. And then you've got like this single stitch coming all the way down from the top, right down to the sole at the toe, and one more stitch going right over the top of the foot there. And that is all you get for the upper. It's really just two completely distinct pieces of leather, and that's it, I think. I'm really impressed by that. The counter is actually a zipper. It's a black metal zipper. And it actually pressed into there does say Raf Simons. I don't know if you can see that, but that's awesome. And maybe even cooler than that is this sole here. I mean, I love the colors. It's a nice, deep, like burgundy wine red, and this really poppy light blue. And then in black, coming off these kind of like teeth here, you've got a black embossed Raf Simons logo. That font is going to be consistent. And you have these splashes of glossy white plastic in here. And those are kind of indented compared to the rubber of the outside of the sole. So that's kind of more in there, and this pops out. Definitely look at these little kind of waves here in the blue. I think that is so nice. And you've also got this texture part here. It's a really light texture going around here and then around the back of the shoe as well. And look at that shape there. The red back here is also textured, but interestingly, the texture on this piece and this piece are actually different. So this is a looser texture, and this one's a bit tighter, if you can see that. And on the inside of the shoe, so we were just looking at the outside, but this is the inside now, and you can see that the text on the inside ones is the same color as the sole rather than black. And then if we look to the sole itself, you can see there's a lot of really cool detailing here. Like take a look at all these little dots in here. And on this piece of rubber here, you have Raf Simons and the size, in this case 43. Take a look at that nice little amount of space between the logo and the size there. And again, all these colored pieces are rubber, whereas the white is a harder plastic. And you can see this kind of pattern, these lines that pop out of the white. And then you've got this really cool like U that the blue does with a little point down there as well. So all of these little details are super important. And for shipping, they put a nice little piece of styrofoam in there, and I think that's really good at keeping the boot's shape, which is so that I love that. So now that we've unzipped this, we can see that there is this extra little kind of piece of leather here underneath where it zips. And the inside of the shoe is like a glossier, kind of softer leather there, so it doesn't have that same like pebbled effect. So it's really hard to see, but inside there, really small, you do get that size printed on there in silver. And then if we look down into the shoe itself, we can see that the insole is a nice matte black, and again we've got that Raf Simons logo printed on there again in silver. And that insole does come out, so we can get a better look at it here. You can see it really does have a really massive curve here at the footbed, and up here it straightens out, and we've got a couple cutouts. That's pretty common there. And on the underside, you've got all these little kind of perforation dots here before it turns to red foam at the top. And actually in there, you've got an RS number, which I'm assuming stands for Raf Simons, so that's really good to see. Inside the shoe, underneath the insole, is actually a really interesting like woven seafoam green color, kind of for the underneath the main footbed. So that's really cool and like an interesting thing to check for. And there is one final thing I want to speak to before we try these things on. So you will notice there is some visible glue here around the sole where the midsole is attached to the leather of the upper. And that's not necessarily a bad sign. You see visible glue a lot, a little bit comes out. It's not a big deal in most cases. However, I did notice when I was checking these out right there. So you can see where the glue was attaching the sole to the upper here, and it's all good all around here, but then right there it is popped out and the glue has come undone. And you know, this is his first season doing shoes. Maybe they're still working out some kinks in the manufacturing process, but when you're talking about luxury shoes, right after you buy it, you should not have the sole coming off of the shoe. Like, that is never a good sign. So I love Raf. He is a beast at everything he does, from his own brand to, Jill Sander, Dior, now at Prada, Calvin Klein. He is just a hit machine, and these shoes are no different. I think these are some of the coolest shoes ever. But I would say they definitely do need to work out some of those just execution and construction issues. And if you get a pair of the runners, anything from the Runner collection, I would give it a good look just to make sure there aren't any issues that could mess with the integrity of the shoe long term. So now that we have checked all of that out, let's try these on to see how they feel and see how they fit. So I've said it before and I'll say it again, I think these are some of the coolest looking designer shoes ever made, and I hope you agree with me looking at them. The feel overall is really good. They're super comfortable. They fit well. They are on the stiffer side, and that is kind of to be expected for a tall leather boot type of shoe. I'd probably be more concerned if they weren't stiff, but they definitely need some breaking in. So I'm looking forward to wearing them out a bit and really getting them to kind of form to my feet and my legs in the right way. However, right off the bat, I really like the way that they kind of grab my ankles, my calves. That's kind of the area where they land. That feels really good and really solid. I don't feel a lot of like creasing at the vamp as I step, which is definitely a big concern for me with black leather, because I just do not like the way that those creases look over time. The size is just about right, so these are a 43 or a US 10, and that is just about what they fit like to me. Maybe they are just slightly larger, but I definitely would not consider changing size if you're worried about that. Just get whatever your normal size is. So really, my only issue with this shoe is that issue with the glue onto these soles. And that is something that I can take care of, no problem. I'll take these to a cobbler, he'll work them out, he'll make sure that it stays put, but the issue is that I shouldn't have to. No one should have to do that to a pair of shoes right out of the box. It's just not ideal, and it's not what we pay for in terms of quality of construction. So that is an issue I hope they work on, but at the same time, I really look forward to seeing what Raf continues to do with his new sneaker line here. So that is how you tell the difference between real and fake Raf Simons Runner sneakers. Take a look at the other video on screen here, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I'll see you next time.